when we talk about how we process our feelings and traumas and the different ways that we do that, something that helps a lot of people is art. And for me, I've taken, several paths with this over the years, but recently I have discovered the joy of poetry and writing again. As a kid, I obviously was not as good as English as I am now, but English proficiency has always been something that I've been very good at, because as a kid, I could not stop reading. I didn't have a lot of friends as a kid, and so reading was kind of like my thing. I've had some free time in my senior year of high school, and I decided to just try doing more poetry. And it immediately began resonating with me the way that painting did. Just the act of it was methodical and so incredibly therapeutic, like it was actively soothing and calming me. And the product of it wasn't just words on a sheet of paper, it was a living, breathing representation of what I've gone through and my feelings. And that's the beauty of art. I've always been very insecure of my work. I've talked about this on my channel before. I've always been very insecure about what I put out there because I don't believe it to necessarily be good enough. But newsflash, that's just artists in general. But the way that this writing helped me is just, it's so hard to put into words, ironically, because it's so new to me. It's so incredibly new to me. And I've made probably about 4 or 5 good poems that I would be willing to show people. And I've probably made about 10 that are really, really bad. But that's kind of the whole point of art, is that you have to make a couple bad versions before you make a good one. And I stand by that. I've made plenty of horrible pieces of writing, and I've made plenty gorgeous pieces of writing where I have to sit back and be like, did I write that, or did I funnel the soul of a philosopher into my fingers as I type this out? Sometimes I'm genuinely surprised by what I'm able to make and put out there. And for me, when it came to really understanding my feelings of body image or heartbreak or insecurity in general, which are very prevalent themes that I talk about here, there was nothing quite like just being able to write them out so dramatically that just put them and framed them so nicely. But there's something so therapeutic about depicting your body, yourself, your experiences as something so deeply romantic that I've never had anyone express to me before, and being able to do that for myself in a way is just such a deep, caring and loving act for myself. There's a lot of poems I've made about how I view myself and how I view my actions in particular. And there's a certain way that you change your perspective and how you view the things that have happened to you when you remove yourself as the first person. Because when I write poetry, I'm typically writing in third person. I'm writing about somebody, and that somebody is me. And I'm writing about the experiences and the things that happen and the things that they are feeling as if it was another person. And I don't know if this is necessarily very common in poetry. I actually have not done a lot of research on it. It's just something that comes to me. But I challenge other people, if you're an artist or not, you don't even have to write these things down, but continually romanticize your life and who you are as a person. Just romanticize yourself. I've made a lot of really great friends over the past couple years. And one of my best friends told me this, and it really stuck with me. She told me, Blake, out of all of the people I know, being single has never looked better on someone than you. She's like, I genuinely, not to say this in a mean way, but I don't know if I could see you in a relationship because you're able to love yourself and who you are as a person so much. And that stuck with me because I've never been in a relationship. I've never been in a proper relationship. And to hear that from somebody who has been, what was meaningful. And it was genuine. It wasn't just like, oh, there, I pity you. It was like, Blake, genuinely, you're doing a pretty good job on your own. I don't think you need to interject someone into your life. And that's true, because the people that I know that are in relationships just for the sake of stability are really pathetic people. Sorry, I don't mean to be rude. I don't mean to be mean like that, but like, it's true. And, you know, as I've found stability in my own life, I've found myself becoming less and less dependent upon other people. And I've increasingly romanticized myself and the things that I do more and more. And I think that's why poetry has so naturally come to me after a year and a half of consistently romanticizing the things around me. It is natural that at some point I'm going to express that in the art I make. I hate it when people think and feel like they can't make great things because they aren't talented at art. You know, I wasn't good at making poems when I first started, but it was my drive for wanting to love and learn and understand more about myself and what I've experienced that allowed me and gave me the courage to do it. And I would go as far to say that this has really changed the way that I view myself. And again, it circles back to my favorite thing about myself, which I've talked before about, is that I love how I am consistently able to adapt to change and continue to grow. It's something just so refreshing that is just so strangely dependable. Like, you would never think that change would be something that would be a dependable factor in your life. That's typically not what you would think of. But as I've begun to, you know, accept the chaos, the messy chaos of life, I've understood that the more that I really just allow it to pass by and as I appreciate it, the easier my life has become. And I'm not idly sitting by and letting things go. I'm allowing myself to kind of like drift through the current of life in a way where I'm not fighting against it anymore. I'm allowing it to take me where I go and snapping a couple pictures along the way. Like, I am enjoying it as it comes. Poetry also, I feel, humbles me in ways as well, where I realize and I understand that my experiences are not overly significant in the way where they're special and different than everyone else. It contextualizes it in a way where I'm able to find oddly silent community in my feelings, which is refreshing to say the least. I mean, I don't know how many times I've kept things in my head for so long that I thought that I was alone. And it still saddens me to think that, you know, there's still kids and I guess grown adults out there that do that, and I don't feel like enough people really vocalize what they're feeling and what's inside their head. And I feel like a lot of people don't really understand how important that is. And it's why I think therapy was so effective for me, because I was able to finally vocalize what was happening inside of my head. And poetry is yet another avenue for this, and yeah, it is incredibly therapeutic. It's a way that I've been able to process a lot of my emotions and memories, and something that I consistently have been really bad at throughout my life is letting go. And this has allowed me to let go of a lot of emotions because I've been able to write them out and make them journaled entries of my life. They're no longer just drifting around in my head. They are on a piece of paper, and they're part of an immortalized history of me. Like, I understand that I'll never be able to make things go away. Like, they happened. There's always the possibility of me, you know, becoming re-obsessed with them. But something about romanticizing them in such a dark way and writing them out just allows me to release them, because that's consistently been something I'm really bad at. And I have the humility to admit that. It's probably my biggest red flag is how much I'm just unwilling to let go of things, and how much I rant on about them, but ever since I started writing more of this poetry, I have realized I really do have the ability to change. And everything feels like a huge breath of fresh air now. And I love that for myself. I really do. Even if you don't think you're necessarily capable of doing poetry, I would still recommend finding some kind of art form that allows you to vent emotion. And I know for people who aren't like traditionally artists or grew up doing art, that feels really awkward and unintuitive, but just finding something that allows you to funnel those emotions into, sometimes it's things that people don't even realize they're doing that are art forms, but something that you're just really good at and passionate about and able to like really relieve stress out of, that is an art form that you're able to take advantage of for something like this. And maybe, just maybe, I will release some of my poems on Instagram or Substack. I'm not sure yet. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments if you guys want to hear some of them, because I think it would put more of an emphasis on me to share and improve upon my work, which is something that's important to me now. But if you'd also like to follow me on Instagram, we recently surpassed 100 followers on Instagram, which is really cool. I'm very grateful. And if you are a new viewer here that maybe came from those 100 followers, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you following my work. And if you're just a new viewer here on the channel, we're really lucky to have you here. We're trying to get through 50 subscribers. So if you want to see more and hear about my journey, make sure to hit subscribe. And if you like the video, make sure to like, keep those notifications on, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.